Yeah. So, I mean, let's start with the Samoa deal signing. Okay. You know, what about it? What, I mean, have you done any stuff on it?
Yeah, I mean, I heard about it, and,
the LGBTQXYZ, plus whatever.
It's very interesting. I think there are some people that are just trying to be mischievous. Yeah. And I think it's kind of good because it's like opposition is rising, right? Obviously, this is driven by some, opposition wing that wants to take any opportunity to drag the government, right? And stress them out. That's what it looks like to me. I took some time to, look at what this agreement is all about, right? And I found out that it's not even it's not anything new. The agreement between the EU and the Organization of African, Pacific, and Caribbean States is one that spans over 40 years. Going way back to 1975, a similar agreement was signed between both parties. Then it was in Lomé. In 2000, that's like 25 years later, thereabout, a similar agreement was signed I think it was Cotonou. So I think what they do is every 20 years, they come together, they revise the agreement, and then they put pen to paper. And I try to ask myself, okay, right now, the old noise is around the LGBTQ element of the agreement, and how some people are saying, oh, is the Tinubu administration trying to quietly, sign in LGBTQ rights into the country without, doing the due process of getting the National Assembly to ratify such a move? Because don't forget, as far as the Constitution is concerned today, it is against the law for same-sex marriages in Nigeria.
That's the 2014.
Signed by President Jonathan signed into 2014 to law. So, if we are signing an agreement now with the EU that sort of advocate for some LGBTQ rights as a precondition to the agreement, which one is going to take precedence? That's what the argument is. And for me, I want to go away from the way we've microscoped the LGBTQ issue and look at the broader conversation of the Samoa Agreement, right? It's essentially a document that tries to discuss how these countries, that's African countries, the Pacific countries, the Caribbean countries, how they work together with the EU to promote key agendas: gender equality, economic development, democracy, investment, social growth, and all those kind of stuff, human development goals, right? That's like the overarching aim of this agreement, right? The LGBTQ thing is just a part of the whole set of what this agreement aims to achieve, right? And I want to be a bit sympathetic to the government because in truth, that agreement did have some LGBTQ clauses. As at 2023, when the document was first presented to all these parties, some countries signed it, but Nigeria didn't sign it because of the LGBTQ part of the agreement, right? Yeah. Because that was going to be a direct contravention with what our current law says. So, as of November 2023, the document was not signed. The ministers that had gone, I think it was a tripartite committee of ministers. I think the Minister of Justice was there. The Minister of Finance was there. Minister of Budget and Planning too was there, thereabout. About 3 or 4 ministers were in attendance, and they said, look, we can't put pen to paper to this agreement because this LGBTQ clause is in contravention with what our current law states concerning same-sex marriage. So we need to do some bit of dialogue, find out where the landing spot is. So what the agreement that's been signed now, just in June 28th, 2024, what we are being told by Atiku Bagudu, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, is saying they have expunged any conditions or clauses in the agreement that is going to be in contravention with our law. And one of those major clauses that has been sort of taken out of the agreement is the LGBTQ clause or requirement, right? So, and they've come forward to say, listen, the documentation is going to be made available publicly so that all of you guys can read it and see for yourself that, Tinubu is not trying to, agree to, those terms, just because we're trying to get aid from the EU. So the propagandists and the media guys who are, trying to, I think the Daily Trust is one of the major playing part, newspaper outlets that were, pushing that agenda, like, Tinubu is about to LGBTQI Nigeria. And then they're saying these guys are just being mischievous, really, because that's not what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the question that I want to ask is, why are these guys doing these things? I mean, the European Union, because they always have these holier than thou type of, aura about themselves, trying to save the world, trying to save Africa. And, we know what comes out of Africa into Europe. We know about, Mali, is it Niger? Niger Republic, that, had a coup and stuff and all the things that are happening around that area.
Yeah.
And the damning reports that allegedly that they said the French, rip them off, as it pertains, to their Commonwealth and stuff and all.
Resources.
Yeah. So, and then they come with this aura of, we're trying to save Africa and all. And that's the question that I ask, what are we doing as Africans, to actually also, put our feet on the ground and say, okay, what are the bargaining chips, that you're bringing to the table, and how can we, bilaterally, exchange, as it pertains to our own resources and stuff and all, so me, I just don't like this savior type of, savior type of, aura that they bring, to come and save us. You're not really saving us. When it comes down to it, we know that you guys are taking a lot of mineral resources away from Africa, and all. And, let's call it what it is. What are we, I can say it's actually trade by barter. Really, trade by barter, but who is gaining what? Now, that's the question, really.
Yeah.
So for me, the question that I'm going to ask is, should Africa continue to go cap in hand, and, presenting ourselves as if, we are being saved, we are being rescued. I'm not saying, we shouldn't do bilateral trade or what have you, no. But what I'm saying is that, how do we present ourselves, in a way that doesn't even make us look as if, we're just getting handouts, from, the European Union or from the US or whatever the case is and stuff. Yeah. So for me, those are the things, it's a rhetorical question. I'm not like asking, for answers and stuff, but I'm just putting it out there, and all that. We as Africans, how do we present ourselves? I know we know our leaders have been some of the worst that any nation can ask for, and they've actually not served us well, and I think all these things should also make us to sit back and ask ourselves, how can we better serve ourselves? Because this has always been my own campaign and my own thoughts, and all, because I know that we have enough resources. We have all it takes to make, Africa, Nigeria specifically, because that's my own constituency, how to make Nigeria the best that anybody can ask for. And all. We have the good, landscape. We have good weather. We have good everything and all, but we have been plagued by our leaders, and all. And that's the reason why we will keep going back to these people. And then they will keep giving us loans. They'll keep giving us handouts, and all. And you know what it means when you are always the one that is taking handouts? You know what that means? You're always like that, cap in hand, and all. So for me, those are the things that I'm just kind of looking at, and all. Like I said, I'm not asking any questions, but if you think, there's anything that you can say to that, but that's just my own, that's my own take about it.
I think you make a valid point. Because, just going back to what I said earlier, this is an agreement that way back 1975 has been in existence. That's about 40 years already, right?
Yeah.
The agreement was renewed in 2000. Now it's 2024. The terms of this Samoa agreement is for another 20 years. So what does that tell you? That for 60 years, Africa, the Caribbeans, and what's the last one? The Pacific region. Are essentially going to be relying on Europe to hold them towards wherever their destination is. That does not spell growth.
Yeah, exactly.
That does not spell development.
Exactly.
That does not spell progress. It's okay if the European Union say, okay, because we are the ones who have we've passed this road before, maybe we know how to get to the promised land faster. Let's show you one or two things. You sign a 20-year agreement. After 20 years, you should have learned the ropes now. After 20 years, you should have understood one or two things that you can start doing by yourself now. You can't tell me that 40 years later, we're still fighting over Samoa agreement, whether there's LGBTQ or there's no LGBTQ. Like, where are we really heading to as a continent? You know, and that's where I agree with you. Like, the argument should not be whether there's LGBTQ clause or not. What we should even be focusing on is that why on earth are we still signing agreements where we are relying on the EU to give us a roadmap for how they're going to help us to promote our democracy, for how they're going to help us to promote gender equality, for how they're going to help us to promote social growth and human capital development? Like, it's 45 years has already passed since 1975, and now are you telling us that as at now, Africa shouldn't be in a position where they are also doing what EU is doing now for other people? Exactly. You know, so I think that's what we should be thinking in terms of the consciousness of the people and even our leaders. Like, we shouldn't be trying to explain, you know, why we signed the agreement and how the agreement is beneficial for us. In my opinion, we should be covering our faces in shame and saying that the fact that we still even need to be relying on this agreement so that we can specify economic trade terms and, you know, specify bilateral agreements with Europe, it still shows that we need these guys. Yeah, and for me, that's not progress, really.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, what our leaders are doing to us, you know, I mean, we don't deserve all these things. You know, Nigeria is a rich country. You know, Nigeria is a rich country because I know how much all our senators and all our House of Rep, how much they've spent on SUVs and stuff and all in this current crisis that all of us we are facing. The Nigerians are facing, not all of us, because I know they are the executives. They are the one that get all the perks and stuff and all. Yeah. So, I mean, the LGBTQ, I think they need to tread carefully because, there's Sharia in the north.
No, but wait.
There's Sharia in the north.
Wait, I was going to stir the honestness a bit.
Go and try.
I was going to stir the honestness a bit and say that I think what we're doing is not fair a bit. Because, see the way we're kicking against these guys, like, bruv, in this same Nigeria that we're in, I guarantee you, there is a ton of people who fall within this community, and then they're just folding their hands and looking like, God, what am I? See the way the entire universe, the entire country is shouting on me, like, I dare not even raise my mouth and say, but what about the LGBTQ clause? What's so wrong with having it in the agreement? Like, but you know, are we being fair to the people that fall within this space? Like, they're human beings too.
I think the pushback and the concern that majority of the people that are the Nigerians are pushing back against is seeing what Europe has become now. Is seeing what America has become, you know, where they shove, you know, what's called LGBTQ flag in, children's classes, where they kind of, you know, do parade and they bring children, you know, to the parade and stuff and all and everything. Yeah. These things are not what African culture, embraces and stuff. And, you know, we do a lot of shady things, you know, in the closet, you know, and all, but African culture doesn't celebrate that in the open. In the open. You know, whatever you want to do it. It's like what they say, you know, there's no problem having your party, you know, but I have my reserved rights not to attend or to decline your invitation, you know, and all. Yeah. But what they are saying, this gay LGBTQ stuff, is that, we are going to bring it to you and there's nothing you can do about it. Your children will have to take it and stuff. So people are kind of like, no, we don't want this. You know, that's why a lot of pushback is, rightfully so too, because, you know, even the Bible says it, our God that created us. I'm using the Bible now because that is my own, spiritual guidance as pertains to, you know, and the God that created me says that I place between you life and death. I admonish you. You can choose it, you cannot choose it. So the God that is sovereign, that is telling me that I can decide to choose whatever I want. Yeah. So it gives me options and stuff. So the LGBTQ cannot come and say, okay, you don't have a choice. You have to accept us. So are
you saying that gay people choose death?
You know?
are you saying that gay people choose death?
No, you see,
based on the analogy you just gave.
Now that is subjective. It's subjective because for my own, faith, it doesn't, allow for it. Do you get? So now, if the gay guy says, okay, they are not ruling by my own faith, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that, and but I'm saying like, don't now bring it to my school and saying that I don't have a right to object to it. Like the students, the children now, like their kids and stuff, their words is in school and stuff. And then the LGBTQ will slam it on the wall, and they're saying that everybody would have to, acquiesce and, bow to the flag and stuff. Even America too. I think there are some states now that are saying no more LGBTQ flags, in classrooms and stuff and all. So they too, they are fighting back because now it is not so much of, accommodating us and accept us for who we are. It is not like you are going to, join in our party, either you like it or not, So that for me, that is where my own issues are. And then I know that, Africans pushing back, is justifiable because they are saying like, oh no, we don't want this, this thing.
Do you think
in our
do you think gay people will go to hell?
So,
do you think gay people will go to hell?
Well, that can be a discussion for another time because I know we have other things that we want to discuss. Yeah, because
I was trying to bait you there.
Yeah, I know. You want a viral moment.
Okay, it's fine. First.
No, I'm not afraid, but I just want us to stick by
your program.
Our program.
Yeah. Cool.
So that is that. I'm hoping that the Samoa agreement can actually do what it is meant to do. Not going into the pocket of elected officials that will embezzle everything, and see go back 40 years later, to go and collect another money, cap in hand, the very shameless set of people that don't even have shame.
Yeah.
You don't even have shame,
Zero shame.
Where's Yaya Bello? We're still asking Yaya Bello. EFCC says they are going to stop everybody from protesting. Where's Yaya Bello? Before you bring that, rules to the rest of us. Where is Yaya Bello? Yaya Bello, you said Yaya Bello embezzled everything in Kwara. Is it Kwara? Kogi State. He embezzled everything in Kogi. Where is he? We can't find him. And that's how every one of them, when they finish office, they go after them. They will act as if they're doing anything. And then before we know it, it's gone cold.
Yeah.
So we have a right to question what you guys are doing anyway.
And by 2045, please, let's not be signing another Samoa agreement. I think God beg our government people. By 2045, let's at least have known what we are doing so that we can steer the ship by ourselves.
Well, maybe you'll be governor by then, or maybe you will be 2045. Maybe that's president. That's a long time. Maybe president.
There's nothing God cannot do.
Yeah.
If I was president, I won't be signing no Samoa agreement. That's for sure.
What God cannot do does not exist.
What God cannot do does not exist.
Yeah. So, hopefully that is coming up.
Yeah.
We can do better.
Yeah.
And that's always the drive and all. But we know Omojua and, what's his name? Tolu Ogunlesi. We know where they are now. So.
Shades, just shots, man.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's quickly move on. I know we've